Ashley's POV. What? How did I get here? I turned around and realized the door I came through was missing. What trick is this? Taking few steps back, I raised my hand and whispered a protection spell. Your powers don't work here, sweetheart. Enrique stood up and walked towards me slowly. Stay back. What do you want from me? I raised my hand and tried to hit him hard with my powers, but none seemed to work. I looked around to see if there was anything for me to use to hit him. I know what you are thinking. You can't hurt me here. This is my world, and it will be yours if you join me. He raised his hand, offering me to take it. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help you. Make it all go away. I can take away your sadness. What are you talking about? I don't need you in my life. I don't need anyone. Why am I here? What do you really want? Where the fuck am I? I was trying to distract him with silly questions that I knew what the answers was. I was in his world, the demon world. He wanted me to join him to destroy my world, the world of the living. I would not let that happen. He must be out of his mind to think I would join him. While my eyes were looking around for an exit, I shouted at him in anger, "Get to the point." He laughed out loud and shook his head. You are just like my son, your father, a pathetic spawn of mine who failed to live to his potential, all for the thing he called love. I should have killed your little witch mother when I had the chance. She ruined a lot of my plans. Well, that got my attention. Good, and I would do the same. I would ruin your stupid plans too. Sue, back off. He laughed again as if I had just cracked a joke. He sighed and looked at me with a smile that looked so much like the ones my father has. You have no idea what kind of person your father was. He was not all good. Just look at how easy it was to make him turn against you. He loves that feeling of being in control. He loves that feeling of that darkness growing inside of him. I gasped slightly and looked at Eric, who seemed to be the one that had turned my father against me. I knew there was something odd about my father when I last met him. He seemed different. What did you do to my dad? He was supposed to be my successor to this place. I gave him everything, made him powerful. Enrique shook his head with a short laugh. Love. It made him weak. So I took away what love meant to him from his heart. I took you away from his heart. I exhaled my breath and sniffled those tears that I had kept in me for so long. So did my father truly love me? Was it all Enrique's doing that blinded him of not seeing the real me? Tell me how to fix him. What do you want? Just say it. No more games. No more riddles. I shouted my words with anger felt in my mind. I was losing control, and that had made me scared of myself. There you go. Now I see my little Ashley. Let that anger out. Feel that power in you. You are meant for great things, my little witch. Well, I would gladly let your pathetic and weak father of yours in return of you joining me. He offered his hand again. Trust me, Ashley. One day you will come begging for my help. You need me. Join me. I don't need your help. I want no part of your stupid world domination plan. Just leave me alone. I said and hid the feeling of content I felt when I saw a white door appearing behind the throne chair. You are my bloodline, he paused, and it was as if he was waiting for me to say something. I had no idea what it was. Crazy man he was. My father once told me to stay away from his father. Enrique would only bring me pain than happiness. I could never trust him. He then got closer to whisper his words to me. How long do you plan to hide about your precious little son? Theodore? Teddy? Did you tell the boy who his father is? Oh, Ashley, dear little Ashley, would you like me to tell him? His words got my attention and I turned to look at him. Fuck you. I felt like my world was going to shatter. He knew about my son. That was not good news at all. No, I need to protect my son from Enrique. It is either you or him. Your choice. I will have one of you. Someone needs to sit on that throne one day. Imagine the powers you will have. The kind of powers that you could rule the living and the dead. You can bring life and you could bring death. All yours. I will give you that knowledge to control both worlds. Join me. I did not realize that he was already standing very close to me, so close that I could feel his warm breath on my cheeks. For a moment, my mind wandered to visualize the future where I sat at the throne and ruled both worlds. I was falling into his darkness. I felt powerful, invincible, free. Every living being bent their knees to me, worshipped me. I was their queen. Then I heard his faint voice. a faint familiar voice calling me back, Mommy. I heard Ashley calling her son's name. Perhaps it could help her ease the pain if the boy was there by her side. So, I decided to call the number that Teddy had called me earlier. The man named Finley answered my call. I felt awkward talking to the man who had stolen Ashley's love from me. Was it jealousy? Fine. I was fucking jealous of that man. My wolf Blake was still mocking me about not being to have the courage to take Ashley away from Finley. I just could not do it. I wanted Ashley to love me because she felt that connection we had. I wanted her to love me as much as I had loved her. She needed to accept me willingly, not by force. Holding Ashley's hand tightly, I kissed it while my eyes was looking at the witch Daisy applying some mixture of burnt potion on her head. It stinks, I said to Daisy, who was whispering some spell in a language I never hear before. It definitely smells nicer than sweaty werewolves. That bitch was not my favorite. Before I could open my mouth to say nasty things to her, I heard the boy's voice. Mommy, Mommy. Teddy came running towards the bed and climbed onto it to hug his mother. How is she? Finley stood next to Ashley looking worried. Interesting. A regalia and wolf guard in one room? If you plan to kill each other, please do it outside. I just had this place renovated, Daisy said and touched Teddy's nose. You are all grown up, little man. Teddy looked at Daisy with a frown. Surely he did not recognize Daisy. Suddenly, Ashley was seen gasping out of air. Finley sat next to her and held her other hand. That made me a little jealous. Mommy, I'm here. Mommy, look at me. I come to save you. Teddy hugged Ashley tightly and rested his head on her chest. Please, Mommy, wake up. It was a lovely sight and moved my heart. I was definitely not going to cry. That would be embarrassing. Thinking that the family might want some time alone, I let go of her hand and stood up. But then I felt her grabbing my hand tightly. To my delight, she did not do the same to Finley's hand holding hers. I smiled, a victory smile, while I looked at Finley's stupid face, Ashley's POV. It seemed the voice of my son was the key to pull me back to the real world. I blinked, my eyes opened, and to my delight, I saw my son wrapped his small little hands on my neck. I could feel his tears on my skin. He was sobbing while calling me. Teddy? My baby. My voice was clearly not at my best. My throat hurts, and I was definitely not at my best state. What is that smell? Not me. I heard Finley's voice and saw him seated on my right. He smiled and nodded at me. Welcome back, sleepyhead. Where did you go? Then I heard a voice of a man clearing his throat. He was seated on my left side, and I could feel him holding my hand, caressing it. How are you feeling? For a moment, we were staring into each other's eyes. There was some sadness in his eyes. I could sense his uneasiness. Was it Finley that he was not comfortable with? Did he know about Finley and Teddy? I called them, thought of you might want them by your side. Clearly, it had helped. Nikolai said his words and frowned. I'll leave you, and your loved ones alone. I was nervous seeing both Nikolai and Teddy near each other. I wondered, how did he manage to find out about Teddy and Finley? What had happened? Don't go. I whispered my words and held on Nikolai's hand. I did not want him to go. My mind wanted the opposite of what my heart wanted. My heart longed for him. So much that it had hurt me to see him again. Was he truly going to marry Pamela? That thought filled my heart with sadness. Oh, how do I then move on from him? Well, hello, my dear. The voice of a woman was heard. I knew her. Daisy? What are you doing here? I asked and smiled, feeling Teddy's kisses on my face. Mommy, you stinky mommy. Teddy wrinkled his nose and looked at Nikolai. They were smiling at each other and laughed. Serious? Are they friends now? What the hell was happening? Why are they exchanging that odd look with each other as if they were mind-linked? It's that thing you have on your forehead. Must be the witch doing. Finley said and asked for Daisy's permission to remove the herbal stinky remedy placed on my forehead. It was cooling, and despite the smell, I liked it. You know Daisy? Nikolai asked as he poured me a glass of water. Drink this. I was seeing the loving side of Nikolai as he helped me to drink the glass of water. How did you find her? Daisy is not easy to find. Finley then lifted Teddy from the bed to help my son to go to the washroom. I knew it was one of Finley's attempts to let me spend some private time with Nikolai. Sometimes I thought Finley could read my mind. Daisy was my midwife. She helped me with Teddy. I owe her my life. I smiled at Daisy, who winked at me. For some reason, I could sense Daisy already found out Nikolai was Teddy's father. She was looking at Nikolai and then back at me. It was obvious. It was a complicated birth. I could only save one of them. Daisy sighed and handed me a bowl of mixture of her herbal remedies. Drink it. Save one of them? Nikolai asked as he wiped my mouth with his handkerchief. So sweet of him. Damn, I was loving his touch on me. Either the mother or the baby. Ashley chose the boy. But luck was on our side. I managed to save both. Hurrah! Daisy said and handed me a banana. Eat, you are looking rather thin. I nodded and was fed by Nikolai, who seemed to like pampering me with his attention. Why was he doing all that? Was it painful? He whispered his question while feeding me pieces of the banana. I nodded and smiled. But it was all worth it. Teddy is my miracle. I would give my life for him, over and over again. He gave me a weak smile and asked, Was Finley there too? During the birth? Seriously, why must Nikolai ruin our romantic moments? I did not answer him. Both Finley and Dave were there when I gave birth to Teddy. But somehow at that moment, I did not want to hurt his feelings. It seemed he might have mistakenly thought Finley was Teddy's father. I was not sure on whether I should tell him the truth. I was not sure if he would take the news positively. He was already engaged with Pamela. It was best if Nikolai start a new life with her. Teddy would not want to be separated from me as much as my life would be meaningless without my son. It was better that way, to keep it a secret for now. Why were you at Galaxy Talents today? I wondered on whether he was looking for me. In my heart, I had hopes that he chose me than Pamela. Teddy called me. He told me you were both leaving. I went. Well, I wanted to. He was clearing his throat while I waited for him to say those words. Words that were saying he wanted me to stay with him. Words that he had chosen me. I wanted to say goodbye. He was surely breaking my heart. Damn you, Nikolai. I felt some sadness, and I slowly let go of my hand from holding his. I nodded my head without saying any word. What else should I say? Are you all right? He tried to reach for my hand, but I had avoided it and slowly tried to sit up with my back rested on the headboard. Why were you there? I sighed and looked up to see his face. There was so much I wanted to say to him, but I realized it was all worthless. What was the point of telling him I had fallen in love with him? He had already chosen another woman. Someone was going to report me on something I did not do. That person threatened to take my award away from me. I bit my lips and kept it a secret from him. The person was actually my father. Who? He frowned and reached for my hand again to hold. I was pulling my hand back and sighed. What are you doing here, Nikolai? Should you not be out there planning for your wedding? I exhaled my breath and was avoiding his look at me. That was embarrassing. I was sounding like a jealous mistress. Please leave, Nikolai. Thank you for your help. I just want to rest. I lied. I just could not stand being next to him after knowing he did not want me in his life. It was heartbreaking. Honey, he chuckled and grabbed my hand with both of his hands. I'll help you. I'll get this matter cleared. Trust me, things are going to be fine. Would it? And he definitely needed to stop calling me honey. He was so annoying. Author's POV. Ashley had slept at Daisy's home for the night. It was just for one night, as Daisy was indeed a private person who preferred to be alone without any distraction. She had made it clear that Ashley and her friends needed to leave the next day. Waking up in the morning, Ashley smiled, looking at her bundle of joy sleeping next to her. He was sucking on his thumb with his eyes close. Moving closer to give him a kiss on his forehead, she whispered, "Wake up, sleepyhead. Let's take a shower. You stinky boy." Blinking his eyes open, he pouted at her. 5 more minutes, Mommy. I'm so tired. Ashley chuckled and messed his hair, which annoyed him much. I'll get the bath ready and warm for you. He nodded and went back to sleep. Ashley then walked to the modern-looking bathroom with lots of button to press. Almost everything there was automated with just a click of the button. It took her a while to figure out the function of the many buttons on the panel of her toilet seat. Do witches really need these gadgets? She smiled and walked to the bathtub to fill it up with warm water. She then removed her nightgown and wrapped her body with a white soft towel. Seated at the stool, Ashley recalled how happy her son was when Nikolai was around. Teddy had spent the whole day playing with Nikolai while she had slept most of the time to rest. Finley had to leave as he had some work to do. Or was he doing it on purpose so that Nikolai would stay with her? Ashley thought about that possibility, but she did not care. Why would she? In her mind, it was not going to last. Nikolai was going to get married, and she knew she had to be strong to forget about him. "Good morning, little man," she heard his voice, which sounded like he had entered her room. It was followed by the sound of Teddy jumping on the bed, sounding he was happy to see Nikolai. That made Ashley sigh and moved to take a peek at the door. "Good morning, Ashley. Feeling better?" he said while carrying Teddy in his arms. Nikolai felt happy to see that both Ashley and Teddy were still at Daisy's place. He was worried they would leave him without saying goodbye, so he had decided to sleep at the other guest room in Daisy's house. Of course, he would love to sleep in the same room with Ashley. But, sensing Ashley was still not happy with the news about his wedding with Pamela, Nikolai knew he had to wait. He needed to try make her trust him again. It also made him happy to know she still had some feelings for him. It was why she was jealous of Pamela. It was too soon to tell her. He wanted to see if she would ask him to leave Pamela. He hoped she would be honest about her feelings of him. "Why are you still here?" Ashley asked while still in the bathroom. She did not want him to see her tired-looking face. "Don't you have to be somewhere else, Mr. Wolfgard? I'm sure someone is waiting for you at your home." "His name is Nikolai, Mommy." Teddy was heard to giggle after being tickled by Nikolai on the bed. Hearing her son laughing like he was happy with Nikolai made Ashley smile to herself. She wondered how Nikolai would react if he knew Teddy was his son. It was too soon to tell him. Ashley wanted him to prove his worthiness to be Teddy's father first. "I made a call to Galaxy Talents. Someone had reported about the competition, a woman it seemed. I'm going to find out about it soon." Nikolai whispered to Teddy to wait for him outside as he wanted to speak with Ashley. Teddy nodded and winked his eyes. "A woman?" Ashley asked with a surprised tone. She thought it would be her father reporting the matter to the judges. The only woman she could think of doing such report was obviously Helen. Clenching her hand into a fist, Ashley wanted so much to punch the mirror, the wall, the door, all the things within her reach. It is going to be few days until they sort out the investigation. Perhaps you could postpone your travel plans to leave Averna. So why don't you stay at my place till we get it sorted out? Nikolai's appearance at the bathroom's door made Ashley yelped. "Nikolai, what are you doing here?" "Get out!" Ashley covered her breast that was wrapped in a towel till her knee. She was feeling a little embarrassed to see Nikolai looking at her from head to toe. He smiled, showing those dimples of his. "Honey, I have seen all of you. You don't have to be shy with me." "Shut up, Nikolai. My son is out there. He could hear you," she whispered and pointed at the door for him to leave. Mommy, please say yes." Both Nikolai and Ashley were surprised to see Teddy jumping up with joy behind Nikolai. He was looking happy and clapped his hand as he jumped up and down like a bunny. It made Nikolai laugh, and he was seen chasing after Teddy. "What did I tell you, little man? You were supposed to wait outside." The sight of Nikolai chasing after Teddy in the room made Ashley smiled. She then laughed, seeing how Nikolai failed to catch Teddy. Her son was good at avoiding and dodging his body away from being chased after, a skill that Finley had taught Teddy. She was also surprised to see both of them getting along pretty well, but at the same time she was worried. In her mind, she was thinking about how hurt Teddy would be if he knew Nikolai was going to leave them after his marriage with Pamela. "Teddy, we are leaving." And Nikolai, the answer is no. "We'll stay in a hotel. Thanks for the offer," Ashley said and turned to look at her sad-looking son's face. "But Mommy, Nikolai is my friend. Can we stay with him? Please." Seeing her son's cute little face had melted her heart. He was cute as a button. Those round eyes of his were hypnotic. "Yes, Mommy, please stay with me. I insist," Nikolai said and held Teddy's hand. They were looking at each other as if they knew Ashley was going to accept the offer. "No, I'm sure Nikolai's fiancé would not like that," Ashley said in an annoyed tone before moving back to enter the bathroom. "Teddy, remove your pajamas. You need to take your bath. The water is getting cold." "Ashley, I'm not engaged with Pamela. His words made her pause, and she slowly turned around to see Nikolai smiling at her. She bit her lips and smiled back. Liar, why should I trust you? Then, Teddy came running into the bathroom and jumped inside the bathtub. The three of them were laughing as the water had splashed at them. It was indeed the happiest day for Teddy. Ashley had never seen her son laugh so much. Nikolai's wolf Blake was also feeling the connection and liked Teddy very much. For a moment, they were together as a family for the first time. But would it last? It was a question playing in Nikolai's head. He knew he had to find a way to mark her. Time was running out, and he could sense his wolf Blake was getting weaker, Nikolai's POV. After sending Ashley and Teddy to a safe house, I had to leave them to settle the dispute between my wolf clan and those from Purple Mountain. They were obviously not happy knowing I had kept a woman with a child that I love by my side. Pamela looked calm, and she just sat at the end of the table, avoiding herself to look at me. I knew I had hurt her, but it was better than a marriage to a woman who I did not love. What is it that my daughter lacks, Nikolai? It was Pamela's father who banged the table to get everyone's attention to him. He was quiet all afternoon until someone mentioned Ashley was a witch. You rather fuck a witch than my perfect daughter? You rather break our peace treaty with the queen to satisfy your duck? The voice came from Pamela's brother, who would soon take over as the alpha of Purple Mountain. He had a strong physique with muscles bigger than mine. I was at one point intimidated with his strength, but I had proven to everyone that I was much stronger than him from a fight we had inside a boxing ring, a victory I was very proud of. Mind your tongue, or I'll cut it, Patrick. Ivan, the beta of my wolf pack, stood up and stabbed the table with his sharp and shiny knife. He was not a fan of Pamela's brother. Ivan would gladly kill Patrick at my command. I did not want that. Perhaps in the past, I would not mind to see bloodshed to maintain my honor. But I did care for Pamela. She had always been by my side for the past decade. I knew she had hoped I would return her love for me. I tried, but I could not do so. I made it very clear to her that fucking her meant nothing to me. It was just sex. She agreed to it. Marriage was off the table when I set my eyes on my mate, my Ashley, and I was not going to let anyone separate us again. You choose now, Nikolai. My daughter or that filthy woman you bed. You know exactly how it would end without my support for you to be the king of all alphas. Your father would be disappointed in you. Pamela's father was giving me his final warning. I hated that old man. All he wanted was the glory of having the king of alpha as his son-in-law. He did not care if his daughter was not my mate. He did not care if love was not meet for Pamela and I. Another threat from you, Peter. I would send an army to burn your pack down. Do not mention my late brother's name without any respect for him. I turned around and was surprised to see my Uncle Igor walking in slowly with his golden stick as support. I never invited him for the meeting. I turned to look at Drake, who avoided my stare. That son of a butch! I growled, and mind linked with Drake, saying words that was not pleasant to hear. He kept quiet and took a glance at me with a smile. What are you doing here, Uncle Igor? I said with gritted teeth. A smile was forming on his wrinkled face. That was odd. He was not the type that loved to smile or laugh. When I was younger, I thought he was a robot. Walking close to me, he pats my back. I know the truth. What truth? Cut to the chase. The suspense was killing me. I looked at Drake, who took steps back and disappeared among the crowd of men from both clans. I would deal with Drake later. Idiot. Igor walked forward and held his head up with confidence. It was no ordinary witch that Nikolai is seeing. I came to know she is the granddaughter of the Queen of Averna, the lost Princess Ashley Tatiana Knight. The runaway bride is what they call her here in Averna. A blood witch. I closed my eyes and shook my head. Fuck! Imagine how strong we would be having a blood witch fighting for us. It must be the moon goddess blessing Nikolai for gifting him with a powerful mate like the princess. Igor's words got the attention of those in attendance. They were whispering, and I could see some nodded in agreement. Pamela suddenly turned to look at me. There was some sadness in her eyes. I could not bear to look at her. I knew at that point she had realized she was losing me to Ashley. I did not have to say my words of apology. I looked at her and nodded slowly, hoping she knew I was not hers any longer. She then left the room without explaining her departure from the meeting. I sighed and walked forward to calm the situation in the large meeting room. She is my mate, and I would protect her with my life. Anyone dared to come close will suffer my wrath. Nikolai, we are not here to punish you or her. We are here to celebrate victory. Igor's words made no sense to me. I thought he hated Ashley. I was made known that the Queen would do anything to get Ashley back home to her family. I was told by a reliable source that the only person that could defeat the Queen is Ashley. And now we have her on our side to fight this endless war with the peace treaty. We could be free and convince the Queen to agree to our terms. Igor's words were spoken calmly with firmness. I was not at all convinced. I would not treat her like a prisoner. I care for her and would not use her as bait. This meeting is over. I then left the room, not wanting to hear another word of nonsense from them. All I wanted to do was to return home to the woman that I love and the child that I wished very much to be mine. Ashley's POV. It was close to the evening. I was seating at the balcony overlooking the woods in Averna. Nikolai had decided to take us to a mansion that was said to belong to his distant cousin. I had to agree, as the place was well guarded with security features built like a fortress. I felt safe. I knew that Nikolai was serious to not let anyone harming us. Nikolai, I heard Teddy's voice calling over him. I saw from above on how Teddy had run towards Nikolai, who had squatted down to carry my son lovingly. It had touched my heart to see how close they were. It was beyond what I had imagined how life would be like with Nikolai. I rested my back to the chair for a moment and looked at the sky that was getting darker. Should I give him a chance to love? Could I trust him? I had doubts and knew my heart could not take another heartbreak like how I had experienced with Philip. Mommy, can I go to the woods with Nikolai? He said it was going to be fun. I turned around to see Teddy jumping of joy like a bunny. I wondered what was so exciting in the woods. Nikolai said he would show me how it is like to be a werewolf. He said the voices I heard in my head is real. Kiko is real, Mommy. Nikolai said Kiko might be my wolf. While Teddy sounded excited, the feeling was totally the opposite for me. I stood up and walked fast to meet Nikolai. He had no right to influence my son to be like him. I would not allow it. Teddy was not ready, Ashley's POV. I walked as fast as I could while looking for Nikolai at the backyard garden. I could sense Teddy was following me with a sad voice of apologizing on something I knew he did not understand. Seeing Nikolai standing next to Drake, I shouted his name in anger. Nikolai, what is going on here? He turned to look at me with a smile that could melt my heart, but I was not there for his love. I was there to stop him from influencing my son to be like him. You should ask me first. You have no right. He gestured Drake to get Teddy. Drake, take the boy to the tent. Others are waiting. No, Teddy, stay. I knew my son would listen to me. I exhaled loudly and pointed my finger at Nikolai in anger. You have no right to force my son to be what he is not. You mean embracing his werewolf blood? Tell me, honey, is it right to feed him with medicine to suppress his abilities? His whispered words made me pause before I turned to look at Teddy. Get inside, Teddy. But, Mommy, I could see my son holding his tears back. I knew he would not understand why I had to stop it from happening. It was dangerous. Teddy was not ready to embrace to be a werewolf. Get inside. Do not make me repeat myself, Theodore Winters, I said with gritted teeth and glared at him. While he sniffled his tears, he nodded and walked towards the mansion slowly with his head down. Drake chuckled and followed Teddy from behind. So that had left only Nikolai and me to face each other for a difficult conversation. Winters, how long do you plan to lie to your son that his father is not a wizard? Nikolai folded his muscular arms to his chest and looked down at me. I was not at all intimidated. I could use my powers to turn him into a goat. Back off. That is not of your concern. He is my son and my responsibility, I said firmly, and did not even blink my eyes. I was definitely angry and hated how Nikolai was slowly controlling Teddy and I. What is it that is holding you back to let your son embrace himself to be a werewolf? Are you disgusted that he is one? And is that Finley agreeable on you suppressing your son's abilities as a werewolf? He moved closer to me, and I could see anger in his eyes. "You do know that Teddy has not been taking his medicine?" He told me that. I gasped to that revelation and shook my head. It could not be true. I was sure Teddy was taking his medicine. The situation was worse than I thought. "You don't understand. I'm trying to save my son." I said my words under one breath while controlling the urge to shed my tears. I had failed to protect Teddy. What a horrible mother I was. "Try me. Make me understand." Nikolai pointed at Teddy and said with gritted teeth while looking at me, "He has a wolf in him. I know you are afraid, as he is a werewitch, a hybrid, a dangerous combination, powerful and strong. But that would not mean you have the right to hurt that boy by giving him that poison of a medicine. It is not poison." I sniffled a tear and shook my head. "It is a way to help him stop hearing the voices from my grandfather. A demon. He wants to take my son away, Nikolai. You don't understand what I had to go through when my grandfather tried to get me to join his side. His army. His stupid world domination plans. I'm not letting him connect with my son." My words got Nikolai's attention, which made him sigh loudly. He rubbed his temple and nodded. "Ashley, I know about your grandfather. Your father, too. But your father managed to overcome that control. There are other ways. The medicine would not help him, honey. But I can help him. Werewolves are stronger than you think." I looked up to see his face and wondered what was it that he was saying. There was no other way than keeping Teddy locked in a cell and control his abilities by wearing a chain. I did not want my son to go through what I had to go through when my powers were out of control. You do know he is a very smart and strong boy. You can't control him forever. But you could train him. We could train him. Together. I felt Nikolai's fingers lifting my chin so that I could face his handsome face. Those dimples were so sexy. "You need to trust me. I will not hurt you." Feeling him rubbing my lips with his thumb was sending shivers down my spine. It made my heart race to think about what this conversation would lead us to do. "I don't care who Teddy's father is. I love you and I love him too, and I very much would like you to accept me in your life, and I would accept Teddy as mine." He lowered his head to plant a sweet and slow kiss on my trembling lips. Oh dear God, did he just say he loves me? I was speechless, and feeling his tongue parting my lips made my knees weak. "Nikolai," I managed to whisper his name in between our passionate kiss. I need time." He nodded with a smile and pecked my lips to end our sweet kiss. While he caressed my arms, I heard him whisper sweetly in my ears, "I would wait 1,000 years for you to accept me. But honey, my wolf needs a mate soon, or he will die and I would suffer. You are the only one that I would mark as my mate. No other. Just trust me." I closed my eyes and felt warm tears wetting my cheeks. An hour later, I was at a site in the woods of Averna. It is where a dozen of my strong werewolf clan that came all the way from Zevia had gathered. Some had brought their own sons and daughters. It was a night to get Teddy comfortable with my wolf pack. It was a delight to see how fast he could connect with the little ones. "So, I guess you have found a way to Miss Winter's heart, Alpha." Drake handed me a can of beer as we sat next to each other watching the kids play. I smiled to that remark as I knew the way to Ashley's heart was indeed her son, Teddy, and I was one step closer to mark her as mine. "I have sent a sample of his hair to the lab. You will soon get the paternity results." Ivan's words made me smile. For some reason, I could sense the boy was mine, Ashley's POV. I walked around the room feeling a little restless. Nikolai assured me it was going to be fine in the woods where he was taking my son. Seeing how excited my son was to go for an adventure in the woods made me feel a little guilty for not allowing him to do so. Teddy's cute little round eyes hypnotized me to allow him to go. I surely did hope that it was not one of his powers to influence others to do his bidding. Seated on the chair, I stared at the table with samples of my new designs to enter another competition, which was more exclusive than the one held in Averna. A competition held in Paris, where I would compete with well-known designers around the world. It was my dream to get the invitation to attend such competition. It was Philip who had encouraged me to work hard to be accepted to design school. He was once my pillar of support. That was, of course, before he dumped me for my former best friend and evil bitch, Helen. I wondered what my life would have been if we got married 5 years ago. Would we be truly happy? I thought he was my Prince Charming, like the hero in fairy tales. But he turned out to be the one that broke my heart into pieces. I sighed and flipped the sketchbook of my designs and started to enhance them. Nikolai was sweet enough to prepare a comfortable chair and a work table for me to continue working on my designs. He even had a room prepared separately for Teddy. But I had insisted that Teddy would stay in the room with me. I was not going to let Teddy out of my sight any more than tonight. As I spent about half an hour on my designs, a call came into my hand phone. It was from a familiar number, which I thought I had recognized before. I had rejected it, as it did not come with a caller identification. Might be some reporter who was interested into knowing more about my personal life. I had avoided them mostly. It would soon be in the news that I was Nikolai Wolfgard's mistress. No doubt, Nikolai had told me the news about his marriage with Pamela were not true. I was still not totally convinced that whatever relationship he had with Pamela was over. I could recall that night of my award win where he seemed to be close to Pamela and she was all in smiles. That memory made me broke the pencil I was using to sketch my designs. Why must Pamela be so pretty? The anonymous call came in again, and without thinking, I answered it in anger. What? Ashley? I paused after hearing the familiar voice and slowly sat back on my chair. I wondered, how did he get my number? You got the wrong number. This is not Ashley. I wanted to end the call, but he had said something that caught my attention. Ashley, honey, it is Philip. We need to talk. It is about your parents. Your father is not well. What? What happened to him? I gasped and closed my mouth. My hand moved to my chest, where my heart was pounding in fear. He was admitted to the hospital this morning. It is not in the news as your family wants it to be a private matter. Which hospital? Why is he not treated in the palace? Why is the queen not there to heal him at home? What kind of illness is this? I know you have many questions, but it is best if I take you to see him. Tell me, where are you now? I'll pick you up. I sighed and shook my head. In my mind, I hoped it was not one of Philip's tricks to get me to see him, for what reason I was not interested to know. He was my past, and I was not going to let my heart hurt with his lies anymore. Ashley, I know what you are thinking. I know you well. You need to trust me. It is fine if you are not comfortable for me to pick you up. You can just come over to Averna Royal Hospital and see for yourself. I'll be here waiting for you all night. He sighed and continued with a worried tone. Your father called your name several times. I closed my eyes and wondered if I should trust Philip. He did know me well in the past. He knew all my favorite things, my strengths, and also my weaknesses. When I lost him to Helen, I felt lost. Who else is there with my father? Just your close family. Don't worry, honey. Helen is not here. Things are not going well between Helen and I. I should be jumping of joy hearing him say that. It would have been a lot of difference if those words were said much earlier. But a lot of things had changed for the past 5 years. I had given birth to a son and lived a new life, which was so different than what the old Ashley was. There was no doubt some hidden feelings I kept for Philip. He was indeed my first love. First love was something people could never forget, as it was the first time you felt connected with someone. Without realizing it, I had tears wetting my cheeks. It hurts to recall the day Philip had cheated me with Helen a day before our wedding. Ashley, are you still there, honey? Stop calling me honey. I ended the call and stood up to freshen up my appearance. I did not want anyone to see me crying, especially Nikolai. I wondered how he would react if he found out that I was going out to meet my ex-fiancé that night. I was sure it was not going to be a pretty sight. Frankie, the driver, insisted to drive me to the hospital. I agreed to it and left a note to inform Nikolai that I had a family urgency to attend to. I hoped very much that Nikolai would not come looking for me there, Philip's POV. I sat on the couch in the hospital suite room. Exhaling my breath heavily, I then sat back with my eyes closed. How did it all happen? I could not believe I was under a spell for 5 years. Hey brother, how are you feeling? It was my sister's voice I heard. She sat next to me and held my hand gently. Blinking my eyes open slowly, I looked at her sweet and concerned face. If it was not for her helping me to break the spell, I would have go on with the charade that Helen had played me. I smiled at my sister and held her hand tightly. You need to get some rest. You too, Alistair. If it was not for both of you, I would be in the dark for longer than I could imagine. I hope it will be over soon and I could get back to the life that I had lost for 5 years. I looked at Alistair, who frowned. There seemed to be something that was bothering him. What's the matter, Alistair? Alistair was Ashley's brother, who was dating my sister, Paulina. They got closer after I had ended my relationship with Ashley, something that I had regretted doing. I loved Ashley, and I would never hurt her in such a cruel way, especially not a day before our wedding that we had planned together. Ashley was indeed a difficult woman to handle, but I had accepted her flaws as she had accepted mine. We were perfect for each other, and I wanted her back. We belonged to each other. Do you think she will come? Alistair looked at me with a sad face. It was as if I was the only hope to get Ashley back and fix the mess I had created. I hoped very much I could do so. I know her. She will come. I knew she will. She loved her father more than anything in this world. He was the only one that could understand how it was to be different, a demon blood, an outcast in this world. When her father turned against her, it was something she could not endure, and I was not there to protect her. Philip, you do know she is seeing someone, Alistair said while he poured a glass of water for Paulina. Seeing the love that the two of them shared somehow reminded me of the good times I had with Ashley. She loved being pampered and being the center of attention. Some would say I was under her spell, giving her anything she wanted, treating her like a princess, which she really was. I was by her side all the time and did my best to make her happy. I was happy. We were happy. It is not going to last between her and that filthy werewolf, I scoffed and shook my head. His kind is beneath us. Ashley would soon come back to us, and I will make things right again. I hope so. Alistair sighed and waved to one of his bodyguards to request them to get some food for us. Aaron should be arriving here soon. Mom wants us all to be here. I'm going to go check on my father. He kissed Paulina's cheeks and got up to walk to the room where Ashton Knight was unconscious. The doctors had no idea what was wrong with him. No magic could heal him too. It was Ashley's mother's idea to send Ashton to a hospital, for she knew Ashley would not step foot in the palace to meet her father. She had vowed not to return to her old life. I surely hoped what they have planned would work, and I too had a plan of my own. I would do all I could to get Ashley back in my arms. I would make her love me again. It was quite a long drive from Nikolai's place to the hospital. I kept quiet and stared outside the window of the fast-moving car. I hoped Nikolai would take good care of Teddy while I was gone. I closed my eyes and remembered him whisper the words that he loved me. I smiled to that. It surely did send some butterflies in my stomach. Was it love for me too? I was not really sure about what I was feeling for him, but he surely have a place in my heart. A special place. We have arrived, Miss Winters. Frankie's voice made me blinked. My eyes opened slowly, and I wondered how long had I sleep. Thank you, Frankie, I said as he opened the door for me. Could you wait for me? I don't think I would be long. Of course, Miss Winters. Alpha Wolfguard had instructed all of us to fulfill your wishes. You are our priority, Frankie said and bowed his head slightly. Please say nice things about me to my Alpha. Frankie's words made me laugh softly. He was indeed different than the other werewolves under Nikolai's wolf pack. He did what? I chuckled to that. Nikolai always surprised me. He cared for me so much that I began to wonder if he would turn to be a possessive type, overly protective type, just like how my father was to my mother. I continued walking towards the hospital. With my hair dyed black, I was sure the people of Averna would not recognize me as the old Ashley. I had even dressed differently, more stylish and vibrant. Tiana Winters was my new identity, and I wanted the world to know me by that name. Sister! I stopped my tracks a few meters away from the bodyguards guarding the royal suite. Turning around, I saw my brother Aaron came running to me. I wondered how he recognized me. You came. Aaron hugged me tightly for a few seconds and took a step back. I'm so happy to see you. I'm sure Mom and Dad would be thrilled to see you too. How is he? I asked Aaron, who looked quite identical to his twin Alistair, except for their manners. And of course, there was a small scar on Aaron's forehead, which I had caused it when we were little. I had hurt him unintentionally when we were younger. My powers were to blame. Fortunately, I did not kill Aaron back then. Not good. Alistair said he is still unconscious. We tried everything. Magic, modern medicine, and even using fairy magic. He seemed lost inside his own mind. Aaron frowned and shook his head. Mom said the same thing once happened to you when you were younger, and you managed to wake up. Wake up? Is he in a dream state? I asked in a whisper not wanted others to hear. Aaron shrugged his shoulders and sighed. I don't know. Maybe. He mentioned your name several times. We then entered the private room together. When my eyes met Philip's eyes, I sensed something different about him. He looked at me in a way that he used to when we were together. Those warm eyes staring at me were different. Even after 5 years apart, I could still feel my heart skipped a beat seeing him smile at me. Ashley, you are here. Philip took steps towards her and wanted to give her a kiss on her cheeks, just like old times. But to his disappointment, she pushed him back with her hand on his chest. What are you doing, Philip? I'm not here for you. Where is my father? Ashley said firmly and swallowed her saliva while pushing back any feelings she had left for him. He was her past, and what Philip had done to her 5 years ago was unforgivable. Nodding in defeat, Philip gestured for her to enter another room where her father was. But before he let her in, he turned around and faced her. Ashley, I was under a spell. Helen's spell. It was just like yesterday that Alistair and Paulina managed to clear my head. Seeing Ashley froze with her eyes locked in his, Philip raised his hand and tucked a strand of her hair behind her ears. It may have been 5 years that kept us apart, but it felt as if it was just yesterday that we were planning for our wedding and our future together. You have no idea the pain I felt after realizing that I had hurt you that day. I would never have hurt you in such a disgusting way. How could you even believe that I would fall in love with Helen? I did not. Ashley blinked a tear away and moved a step back. She hated the fact that her heart was still hurting because of him. It made her weak. Philip, please, I don't want to talk about us. I just want to see my father. Aaron, who was standing behind Ashley, cleared his throat, sending a signal that Philip was wasting his time with his sister. Can you two deal with that love shot later? For someone like Aaron Knight, love was nothing but a chemical reaction to the body. Taking a glance at Aaron, Philip nodded and stepped aside to let Ashley enter the room. We'll speak later, Ashley. She pretended not to hear him as her mind was focused on her father. Entering the large room, she gasped seeing her mother and brother were standing next to the bed where her father was resting. Her maternal grandparents were there too. All eyes were on her. Oh, Ashley, my baby. Her mother came rushing towards her to give her an embrace, but Ashley had stopped her. Please, don't. I'm not here for you or anyone else than Dad. I think I know what is happening to him, and I have a way to fix it. Then, I'm gone. I'm not coming back if that is what you are hoping, Mom. Ashley said firmly and ignored the sad look on her mother's face. It was cruel, but what her family did to her in the past was much worse. The relationship was broken, and Ashley could not find a place in her heart to fix it. She did not want to go back to the horrible life living under control of the palace. Being Tiana Winters had meant the world to her. She was free to be what she had dreamt to be, and that was not to be a princess trapped in a castle. Before she took steps forward, she looked up on the ceiling and down on the floor. Then she looked around the room for any signs that her grandmother, the queen, would have placed a trap to lock her in the room. There is nothing to worry about, my dear. You are safe here. I made sure your grandma would not use her magic on you. No trap spells. You have my word. Ashley's mother said and reached her hand to hold hers. I missed you so much. I hope you could find a way to forgive what we had done to you. It was all a misunderstanding and we are free from the spell that Helen had put on us. I'm sure Philip had filled you in about it. Ashley nodded and sighed. She let go of her hand from her mother's hold gently and shook her head. As I said, I'm here for Dad. Don't expect anything more than that. I have a new life now. The person you hoped to come today had died a long time ago. Ashley, don't say that. Her mother sniffled a tear and was seen being held by her brother Alistair. Give her some time, Mom. It had been 5 years. We need to be patient. At least let her help Dad to wake up. Alistair calmed his mother and nodded to Ashley to have a look at their father. Ashley walked straight towards the bed where her father was resting while ignoring the stares from both her grandparents. If you expect me to bow to you both, then you are hoping too much. I'm no longer a citizen of Averna. Where I came from, there is no monarch ruling the country. You should know that by now. A proud and arrogant you seem to come back, I see. Nothing has changed. You are still the same Ashley. You may change your name, your appearance, and your status. Beneath all that, you are still her, a blood witch, my bloodline. Hearing her grandmother said those words caught her attention and made her stare at her in anger. If I could change my bloodline, I would remove any trace I have that linked me back to you. You destroyed my life and imprisoned me to a life without freedom of choosing. I am not going back to that life. You can try, but you will fail many times. Ashley stared at the queen with her eyes that was turning to a shade of redness. So was hers. Author's POV. Stop this. We are not here to fight. Ashley is here to help Dad. Please back off. Aaron spoke and gestured for the rest of his family to take steps back for his sister to start her ways to heal his father. Please, the longer we delay, the harder it would be to pull Dad back to life. Ashley smiled weakly to her brother, who she thought had grown up to be a wise man. She wondered what had happened to her baby brother, who loved to cry on her shoulders when he got hurt. Seeing her father looking pale and weak on the bed, Ashley felt sad. He was a strong man who was feared by many for his dominant traits. No one would dare to question his decisions, as he would firmly ensure it was the best options. But that night, he was looking quite the opposite. Seated on the bed next to him, Ashley placed one hand on her father's hands. Her right hand was placed on his forehead. Closing her eyes, she whispered a spell that took her where she thought her father was. Spirits of the witches of the East, I called upon you to help me join my father in the world, not of the living. Let the bond we have unite us. No more should he be alone. No more should he be in pain. Unite us and guide us to the right path. Help me, and I should be in your debt. Ashley whispered her words in an ancient language which the queen knew well what she was doing. Ashley, no! The queen shouted to stop her from going through with the spell that came from the Book of Dark Magic. Nothing good would come from that book. But the queen was too late. Ashley fell on her father's body with her head rested on his chest. Silent. Darkness. Alone. Then she blinked, her eyes opened, and woke up in a place that was warmer and dark. It was not the hospital that she had been. It was not even the same world she had left. The place was surrounded with flames, and at the end was a cage where a man was seen trapped in it. Dad? You did what? I sighed and threw my handphone that smashed at the wall. I came to learn that my stupid driver had driven Ashley to meet someone at the Averna Royal Hospital. I sensed danger coming, and I needed to go to her. I gestured for Drake to get my car ready. I needed to find my Ashley. Nikolai, I can't find Mommy. Seeing Teddy's worried face made me suck all the anger I had and fake a smile. We had just come back from the woods where I had showed Teddy the ways of a werewolf. The boy seemed to be a fast learner, and it made me wonder if he was indeed just 4 years old as what he had told me. I was sure he was older than that. Did Ashley make him lie to me? Don't worry. Mommy is working, and I'm going to go out now to pick her up. I was bad at lying to Teddy, and I could sense he knew it. Can I come? He jumped up and down like a bunny. I wondered if the boy was ever tired of jumping like that at most time. He was so full of energy. I wondered what kind of a wolf he was going to be. Surely a fast one. No, Mommy wants you to go to bed. Now, strict orders? I just hoped this boy was an obedient type as well. I was not good with children, but it did not mean I do not like them. I just did not know how to control them other than by force. It is not my bedtime yet, plus Mommy would sing me a song before I go to bed, or read me a story. Can you do it for me, please? For a moment, I thought it was a ridiculous idea. Me, sing? The world was going to end. but seeing Teddy's cute, round, and hypnotic eyes, I was drawn to them. I just hoped it was not one of his abilities to have that effect on me. And if he was truly my child, that kind of ability would be the end of me. I needed to find a way out of it. 10 minutes later, I was seated by his side on his bed doing something I never did before in my life. He made me sing. And that moment, I realized that the bond we had was amazing. I somehow did not care how horrible my voice sounded. In my heart, I had wished very much that Teddy was truly my son. Nikolai, we have an emergency situation. We need you right now. I heard Ivan's voice outside the door of Teddy's room. I kissed Teddy's forehead and hoped the boy was truly asleep. Then, I left home to face my enemies of werewolves who wanted me dead. In my heart, I prayed that my Ashley was going to be all right out there. But for some reason, I did not understand. I felt a pull to go to her. Something felt wrong. Nikolai's PO. I drove my car with Ivan by my side. We were heading to a site where our shipments were said to be raided by a group of rogue wolves. Fortunately, my beta Ivan had trained our guards well, and we managed to defeat those scumbags for trying to steal my precious property. I spoke with Ivan in our native Zevia language as what he preferred. I was getting rusty with it the longer I stayed in Averna. Did we secure the object? Ivan scoffed and nodded. Of course, they raided the wrong ship container. Hold on, did you hear that? I shook my head, not knowing what noise he heard in the car. How many were there? I need to make it quick. Need to pick up Ashley from whatever danger she had walked into. Danger? She is a witch. I'm sure she could handle herself. She is much stronger than she looks. Ivan chuckled and asked me with his cheeky face, have you two made love? Make babies? You marked her yet? Better be quick. You're not getting younger. At your age, I already have 2 boys. I scoffed at him and made a turn to the left where the shipment docks were. I'm working on it. Time is not on my side, and I told her that. She did not resist. It is a good sign. She is thinking and not pushing me away. Why don't you just mark her with force? Drug her. Explain later. I have something that can help. At least you can get your wolf strong again, Ivan said before he checked on his gun to reload them. Not to her. I want her to accept me willingly. No force. I was sure of that, and I would wait for her to accept me, even if that would be my death. Bang, bang! I heard gunshots coming towards us. We were protected with the bulletproof windshield of my car. I mind-linked with my wolf pack to get cover and spread out into formation. From the gunshots, I guessed there were at least 3 shooters. I'll cover you. I'll take the one on the roof, Ivan said, and we got out at the count of 3. Bullets were heard shooting from all angles, not just from the assassins, but also from my pack. Humans. I can smell their scent from here. What are they doing shooting at us? You pissed off any humans lately, Alpha? Congratulations. We have all species as our enemies right now. Ivan mocked me, with his eyes focused on shooting those humans who came here obviously to kill me. The bullets were seen shooting at me, only me. Bang! Bang! I shot 2 dead and 1 to go. Come out now. I know where you are. I can smell the cigarette you smoked a few minutes ago. I walked forward with my men in place from 5 different angles. The shooter had nowhere to go, and I was sure I heard the heartbeat of a scared man hiding behind a wall. Then I stopped. There was another heartbeat heard, faster each second. It was not of a man. It was, Nikolai! Nikolai! I knew that voice. I turned around and I could feel my eyes opened wide, as if my eyeballs were going to fall off from the socket. Teddy, stop! Then I heard the gunshot coming from a distance coming towards me, and I knew if I did not move, it would go straight to Teddy. With all the strength I had, I jumped high up in the air and pushed Teddy to the side. Bang! Nikolai! I could hear Ivan shouted my name several times, followed by several gunshots coming from my wolf pack to the shooter. I could hear more of my men coming my way. It was definitely a silver bullet that had grazed my shoulder. That would need some stitching or some medication. My healing abilities would not be able to heal this sort of wound. The shooter was sure to want to kill me. Nikolai, you are hurt. Teddy pouted at me, and I was surprised to see the boy not at all crying or fear for what had just happened. Was he not afraid? Was it not the first time he was shot at? Are you all right? Are you hurt? I checked on his small body and turned him around while I squat on the ground. What are you doing here, Teddy? Do you know how dangerous it is? I raised my voice, and that had made him tremble and took few steps back. I thought you were going to see Mommy, he whispered with tears coming down his cheeks. I sighed and removed my jacket to cover his body that was just wearing a cartoon pajama matched with his ever so colorful socks. I groaned in pain as the wound on my shoulder seemed to worsen. Don't cry. Big boys don't cry. Get in the car. You are going home, I told Teddy, but his eyes were on my shoulders. After blinking his round eyes several times, he tiptoed and placed his small and cold little hand on my wounded shoulder. Meteor, I heard him whisper, and a warm sensation was felt on my shoulder. Strangely, the pain was gone. Looking back at him, I saw him smile, showing those cute little dimples that Drake said it was just like mine. That power in him was something I did not expect coming from a 4-year-old boy. He was indeed special. Should I be worried or enjoy? The boy would grow up to be one hell of a strong werewitch. Was this the reason why Ashley thinks he was not ready to embrace his wolf side? Teddy, what other special abilities do you have? My words made him smile even wider, and he whispered to me his abilities, which made my heart race with fear. Ashley's POV, where I was looked different from the place I had met my grandfather Eric few days ago. I was sure it was Enrique's doing, as there was no one else that would want to torture my father in such a way. They were such in an odd relationship, which I found it to be exhausting. If only they could talk to each other, then things would be much easier to deal with. All they do was fight. Both stubborn, both arrogant. The traits that I knew I possessed from that side of my genes. Dad, I will get you out from here, but you need to trust me. I don't have much time. I reached for my father's strangely cold hands, which he was trying to avoid mine. Dad, this is me, Ashley, your daughter. No, you are just one of his many tricks. I will not submit to his demands, he said while trying to avoid coming near to me. I wondered what had Eric done to my father. It had broken him into a version of a man which I did not recognize. Enrique was not as bad as what my parents had told me he would be. He could be controlled and managed. Lorraine had taught me how to do so, and it took courage and confidence to push him out from my thoughts, a trick which I have not gotten my boy Teddy to master. I wondered how my son was at this moment, probably tucked in nicely in his bed with Nikolai by his side. Dad, please, this is what he wants, to break you, to break your mind. This is not real. You need to wake up. I moved and grabbed his hand. I then placed his hand on my cheeks. Do you not miss me, Dad? Remember when you once said I was your precious little angel sent from heaven to save you from darkness? It is what I'm doing now, saving you. Please wake up. He then looked at me with his sunken eyes that looked like he had not slept for days. With a weak voice, he whispered my name. Ashley, sweetheart, is it really you? I nodded and felt a tiny speck of hope coming our way. True enough, a door came to sight, Ashley's POV. I blinked, my eyes opened with a blurry vision of the hospital scene. I was back in the room where my father was still lying on the bed. My left hand was still holding his hands with my other hand on his forehead. Dad? I whispered, calling him weakly. Ashley, you are awake. My mother came to me and embraced my weak body with tears seen wetting her cheeks. I was so worried. I thought I was going to lose both of you. I can't bear that. Mom, I'm fine. Is Dad awake? I slowly sat up and wiped those tears on my mother's cheeks gently. She shook her head and looked sad at my father, who was still unconscious. I was still angry at her, but she was still my mother. The anger would soon subside, and I knew no matter how much I hated my parents, I still also loved them very much. I just wished they could understand me better. I was different, and they knew that. But they had lost hope in me, and that was when things got a little crazy between my parents and I. If only they could try understand my powers like how Lorraine Winters had helped me to control them over the last 5 years, things would be so much better for all of us. No chains were necessary. No prison could hold me that long anyway. Don't worry. He'll wake up. I'm sure of it. It will be fine. Maybe it would take longer, but I know Dad is a strong man. He'll pull through. I gave a weak smile to my mother that made her smile back and pulled me for another tight hug. I felt like body was crushed by her tiny body. Mom, I can't breathe, I whispered. That made her laugh. I'm so sorry. It has been 5 years that I have not seen you. I looked for you everywhere. Where were you?" she asked while fixing my hair and my dress like she always did in the past. "You look so pretty. Tiana Winters, that is who you prefer to be called now?" I knew she tried to create a conversation with me. At least she tried, and that was all that matters. I nodded to her question and held her hand. "I can't stay. I have to go." It was getting late, and I was worried that Nikolai would show up and create a scene at the hospital. Teddy would be looking for me too, and I was not ready to introduce my son to my family. I still did not trust them. "Please stay. We miss you. Do find it in your heart to forgive us. Ashley, you know what we did was to protect you. We never meant to harm you. And Philip, he is still very much in love with you." She held my hand tightly and sniffled a tear. "It was all Helen's doing. She was working with Eric to destroy our family, so that you and your father would go back to him. It was horrible. It was the longest time in my life to be separated from your father. I could not believe I had left him alone, fighting to come back." "You got separated?" It was something hard to believe, as their love was so strong. I wondered what kind of magic Helen used against them to hate each other. It was just few days ago that we managed to come out from the spell, thanks to Alistair and Paulina, who found a potion to cure all of us. I could not imagine life would be growing old without your father, you and my sons. It would be death to me. Seeing my mother cried made me in tears too. "It is going to be fine, Mom." I smiled and got startled by the sound of my handphone. Someone was calling me. I hoped it was not Teddy looking for me. To my surprise, it was Nikolai, and there were about 7 missed calls from him. Despite it only felt like I was only spending 10 minutes in the dream world, the real world was taking more than an hour of my time. I rejected his call and stuffed my handphone in my bag. "Who was it?" my mom asked and smiled. "Are you seeing someone?" I don't know, and that was the truth. I was not sure if I wanted to go on having a relationship with Nikolai. What if I was just a mistress to him, and he would carry on to marry Pamela? That thought still lingered in my head and heart. "Why don't you talk to Philip? He was so broken after knowing what he did to you. The spell on him was the hardest to break. Helen had controlled his mind for far too long." My mother looked at me as if she was hoping for things to go back to how it was 5 years ago. "It was not that easy. Mom, it had been 5 years. A lot had changed. I have changed. I can't just go back to how it was 5 years ago. It is not that simple." I let go of her hand gently and smiled at her. "I have to go. I am sure Dad will wake up soon. Take care, both of you." I looked around and realized it was only my parents and I left in the room. The rest were waiting in a separate adjoining room. With a heavy heart, I exited the room and was walking to the private lounge area where I saw Philip waiting for me. He was looking ever so charming. Seeing him looking at me in such a way made my heart flutters. I smiled nervously and cleared my throat. "I have to go. Thanks for calling me to inform me about my father. He will be fine. Just give him a little bit more time." I went through the same as what my dad did in the past, so I was sure he would need days to recover upon waking up from that sort of journey to another world. "Don't go. Please stay." Philip blocked my way to the exit door. I looked up to see him looking down at me with a sad face. I knew what he wanted, but it was something impossible for me to give him, at least not that soon. "Philip, please step aside. I'm tired and I want to go home." I sighed and avoided to look at him as I knew I would be in tears any minute then. "Honey, your home is with your family, your real family. Come back to us. Come back to me." He lifted my chin up to look at him, and I could see him smile at me, those smile that gave me butterflies in my stomach back then when we were very much in love. "I love you, Ashley. I hope you understand that it felt like only yesterday that I had proposed marriage to you. I would never hurt you. Please believe me." "Philip, I can't. You don't understand. It has been 5 years. A lot has changed, and you hurt me pretty badly back then. It broke my heart to see you with Helen. I don't think I can ever recover from that." And then I felt my cheeks wet with my own tears. I whispered to him, "Please let me go." All of a sudden, the memory of being cheated by him with Helen came rushing into my mind. I tried to push him back gently as I could not stand him near me. But then he pulled me closer and I felt his lips crushing over mine. I froze. Oh, how I missed those lips of his. I closed my eyes and let him kiss me. Then I heard a familiar voice calling my name. Ashley, where are you? In a reflex, I pushed Philip back just in time to see the person kick the door open. Nikolai? Ashley, we need to go now. Come back to me, Nikolai said to me, being out of breath. I wondered where those bruises on his face came from. I looked from Philip and Nikolai. For a moment, I was lost for words. Ashley's POV. What are you doing here? This is not a place for your kind to enter, Philip said in anger and stood blocking my way towards Nikolai. They were looking at each other, and I knew any time now someone would land his fist to the other man's face. Nikolai, I can explain. I looked at Nikolai's face with his eyes turning shades of yellow, and I know soon it would be reddish as a sign he was going to turn to his wolf side. It was a hospital. I could not let that happen, especially when my parents were in the next room. Nikolai offered his hand for me to take. He did not have to say it, but I knew he wanted me to choose. I wanted to go to him as I wanted so much for tonight to end. It was exhausting, and I was already missing my son. I was tired. Ashley, don't. Your family needs you. I need you. Why are you wasting your time with his kind? He is beneath us. Philip's words made me look at him. I could not believe he said such things. I knew Philip hated werewolves. They were indeed at a different class back in his country. But here in Averna, werewolves were pretty much powerful, and the likes like Nikolai were very well respected. Shut your f***ing mouth or I'll cut your tongue, Nikolai said and let out a growl. I then saw Philip raised his hand and swung his arm to punch Nikolai's face. Obviously, Nikolai, who was much bigger than Philip, was well trained in fighting. Philip may be able to fight, but his strength would not be in par with an experienced werewolf warrior like Nikolai. Philip, stop! I shouted at him, who chose to ignore me. Nikolai moved to the side to avoid Philip's punch and threw a hard punch to Philip's stomach. It had sent him on his knees to the floor. Nikolai, don't! I was too late, as I saw both men were on the ground wrestling each other like they were in some sort of a boxing tournament. Furniture was kicked aside. The sound of broken glasses was heard, and tables being thrown to the wall were too much for me to take. I said, stop! I shouted as loud as I can at a high-pitched voice. It got their attention, but it was just for a few seconds before Nikolai gave Philip a hard punch on his face. Nikolai! The door to the room opened wide, where I then saw my grandmother and my brothers looking at the two grown men fighting. They gasped and turned their stare at me. Aaron was the only one cheering. I sighed to that. What on earth is going on here? My grandmother said, before she whispered a spell that made both Philip and Nikolai froze. The sight of Nikolai's fist on Philip's forehead and Philip's fist on Nikolai's abdomen was a sight that made my brother Aaron laugh out loud. He even took some pictures using his handphone. This is some news that would blow everyone's mind. My grandmother walked to stand next to both Philip and Nikolai, who could only move their eyeballs. She exhaled her breath and placed both hands to the side of her waist. This is a hospital. My son-in-law needs peace and quiet for him to recover. Take your fight elsewhere. She then looked at me and frowned. You brought them both here, and now I want you to take them out. I did not bring them here. They came to me. I did not know why I wanted to defend myself. My grandmother, the queen, would always find her way to win an argument. She squinted her eyes at me and shook her head. For someone close to be 70 years old, she could pass to be my own mother, still very pretty and elegant as compared to my own self. Ashley, clearly they both have feelings for you. Now you need to choose. And as your grandmother, you know very well who I think is the better choice among these two fine gentlemen. I was kind of surprised that my grandmother did not smack both Philip and Nikolai out from the room and away from me. She must have changed over the years. You have been with Philip for more than a decade. You once told me you may not be able to love other man as you thought Philip was perfect for you. Your soulmate, you called him. My grandmother's words made me look up to face her. She was correct about that, but those feelings were felt a long time ago. But that may be due to you never dated anyone else in your life than Philip, no one else to compare him with. Maybe because no one else could stand you and your arrogance. Then you met Nikolai Wolfgard, a charming and strong gentleman, much older and wiser than you. Any woman would fall for his charms. But my dear Ashley, he is a werewolf, and you are a witch. Think of how your life would change if you proceed with this sort of relationship. You know for sure it was not going to last. My grandmother walked towards me and sighed. He will hurt you, and you would be left alone. The world of the werewolves is not fit for a princess like you. Grandma, don't say that, I said weakly and looked at Nikolai, whose eyes were looking at me. My grandmother might be right, but my heart wanted something else. Seeing Nikolai's eyes turning back to his usual light brown in color, I knew he had calmed down, and I hoped he would not take what my grandmother had said seriously. With a flick of her finger, both Philip and Nikolai were released, and they both fell to the ground, gasping for air. Now, choose wisely, my dear. I heard my grandmother whispered her words to me, and what she said next made me tremble. And did he not tell you vampire blood runs in his vein? A hybrid like him would crave for witch's blood. It is not love, Ashley. It is his craving for your blood. Nikolai's POV. I spat blood on the floor and got up. The fucking bitch had poisoned Ashley's mind in hating me. Of course she would. Having Ashley on my side would be her weakness. I did carry the curse of vampire's blood, as I was once bitten by one as a revenge to what my late father had done to a group of vampires. That was when Daisy, the witch, had saved me. I recalled that memory a few days ago. The curse was something I carried and kept a secret to those outside my wolf pack. Those who had seen my with my fangs would not have survived. Over the years, I had learnt how to control my cravings for blood, and I was no danger for Ashley. You see, Mr. Wolfguard, my granddaughter had made her choice, and that is not you. So please leave, or I would make you regret forever knowing my Ashley, the Queen said arrogantly and pointed the door for me to go. I looked at Ashley and sighed. Don't believe her, Ashley. I would never hurt you. You know how much I love you. Please come back to me. I offered my hand for Ashley to take and waited for her answer. Nikolai's POV. As you can see, she already made her choice. She would not go to an animal like you, a killer. Your hands are full of blood, killing innocent lives out there for a war you and your father had started, Philip said with a wicked smile, which he thought he was winning. Shut the fuck up. Do not mention my father, you weak human, I said with gritted teeth and took a deep breath to calm my anger. I was not convinced that Ashley rejected me. She was just confused, and I did not want to force her to choose me in such a situation. No doubt I was heartbroken, but I knew she still loves me. She just needed time, and I would give her that. Just go, Nikolai. Clearly, my granddaughter has made her choice, the Queen said calmly with her victory smile. I hated her. If it was not for Ashley, I would very much like to bite her neck off. Fine, but it does not mean I would give up on you, Ashley. I promised I would wait for you to accept me, and I would do that even if I have to wait for a very long time. I said my words to her. She was looking down on the ground, trying to avoid to look at both Philip and I. I knew she was thinking, and I knew she had not made up her mind on who she chose to be with. As long as she did not say she rejected me, I knew I still have a chance. You are wasting your time. Get lost, Nikolai. I hope our path would not cross again, Philip said and took steps to stand next to Ashley. That arrogant man was full of confidence for something he did not have. I sighed and nodded my head. I would give her time and space to think. Ashley, I would return your things. I would not force you to choose me. But I very much like that to be your choice that comes from your heart and not being manipulated by your own family who you knew very well are not in your favor. My words got her brother's attention, and I could hear both of them scoffed. Get the fuck out of here, one of her twin brothers said and opened the door for me to exit. I turned around and walked towards the door. It was not the end, as I would find a way to her heart. As what my father once said to me, patience is a virtue, and I should not fight when I could not control my anger. As I was about to exit the door, I felt a hand on my arm. I smiled and turned to see a pair of my favorite blue eyes staring at me. Ashley's. I did not know what to do. My mind was conflicted. Nikolai did not tell me he was a hybrid. I was thinking about the sort of abilities that my son would have from both of his parents. what sort of a man he would become if his powers grew stronger by each day. How was I going to control that kind of energy he had in him? There were many voices talking in the room, but I was not really listening, as I was terrified to know about the future that lies on Teddy. I did not know what to do. It was too much for me to take in alone as Teddy's single mother. I needed Nikolai. I needed him to be Teddy's father, but would he forgive me for lying to him? Would my son forgive me for saying his father was dead? So many questions were playing in my head. Then I looked up to see Nikolai was still offering his hand for me to take. Was he leaving me? Hearing the exchange of words between Philip, Nikolai, and my grandmother made me restless. They were fighting for something that was out of their control. Fate would determine who I would end up with, not them. I did not know who was my soulmate, but my heart very much wanted to be with one man, and that was with the father of my child. As I held his arms, I whispered, "Take me with you." He smiled and moved his hand to hold mine. As we were approaching the door, Philip blocked the way and stared at us angrily. "You are not taking her away from here. She belongs with her family. Clearly, you have something that made her choose you blindly. She does not love you, and you do not love her as much as I do." I held Nikolai's hand and shook my head at him. I did not want him to fight Philip. I was tired and very much want to be with my son. "Philip, please let us go." I said my words that had made him look at me with such sadness in his eyes. "No, Ashley, don't go. You are just confused. Don't throw away what we have for more than a decade. You just met him, and you don't know what kind of a man Nikolai is. He's dangerous. And you'll live a life looking behind your shoulders for someone to put a bullet through your head. Nikolai has many enemies. You are not safe with him." Philip said his words desperately. There were some truths in them, but I did not want to go back and live in the past. I had decided to move on with my life, even to a dangerous life full of uncertainties, and I chose to be with Nikolai. "Let them go," the voice of my father made all of us turn to face him. He was awake and was standing by the other door to his room with my mother supporting him by the side. Smiling at me, he nodded at me and gestured for me to leave with Nikolai. "My daughter has made her choice, Philip. Let her go. You have my blessing, Ashley. I love you, and all I want is for you to be happy." "Ashton." Of course, my grandmother protested that decision. "Sweetheart, let them go." It was the voice of my grandfather who finally spoke, and he nodded at me, showing his support for my decision. I whispered the words "thank you" to my father and left the room with Nikolai. We walked fast towards the car and not looking back, both worried on the kind of threats that the Queen would send to us. To my surprise, there were dozens of men on the ground being unconscious. There were my family's royal guards. I looked at Nikolai, who smiled to himself. It was his doing. I hoped the guards were still alive. Such an arrogant man he was. It made me wonder if I had made the right choice by choosing him. "Don't worry, I did not kill your precious guards." We got in his car and he drove away fast, not wanting to spend another minute at the hospital's compound. All the while, he held my hand tightly with one hand and the other on the steering wheel. I wondered where was his driver, Frankie. I hoped Nikolai did not fire that nice man. I kept quiet with my mind, wondering if Nikolai would forgive me for letting Philip kiss me. I did not stop Philip for doing that. I actually wanted it back then. But the kiss felt different. It was not the same as the kisses I had with Nikolai. That thought made me blush. "What's on your mind, honey?" he asked with his focus on the road while driving. "No more secrets, all right? From now on, just the truth between us." I nodded and whispered, "Philip kissed me." All of a sudden, Nikolai steered the car to the side of the road and stopped the car. He turned to look at me and asked with gritted teeth, "He did what?" Ashley's POV. I was under a lot of stress. A lot was going on in my life that night. I did not even realize I had said those words out loud. I then took a glance at his very handsome face and frowned. He had no right to be jealous of Philip's kiss on my lips. He had the same with Pamela. "Philip kissed me." I repeated my words, which made him turn his body to the side to face me with a growl. "But I did not kiss him back like how you had shared a kiss with Pamela at my award celebration dinner, or whenever you allowed her to kiss you in your live interviews. So don't you dare judge me." What? He asked and frowned at me as if I was speaking in a foreign language. I was speaking with him in the language of Averna, which I knew quite well. He was fluent in it. I thought I was the only one who was bad at acting. Don't pretend you don't know what I was talking about. I know about your relationship with Pamela, and it is just not as what you said. Nothing. I don't know what you want from me, Nikolai. I don't know why you are lying to me about Pamela. I took one deep breath and took the courage to look into his eyes. I don't know what you think I am to you, but I am not going to be your mistress when you marry Pamela, and it is best if I move out from your house as soon as possible. I have enough drama in my life to be in yours and Pamela. For a moment we were staring into each other's eyes until he scoffed and shook his head. So, you kissed Philip to get back at me? I said Philip kissed me. I did not kiss him back. I exhaled my breath and sat back on the chair. I then rolled my eyes and looked out at the side window to avoid his deadly stare. Just drive me back to your place. I'll leave with Teddy in the morning, as clearly it is not working between us. I'm not some toy you can toss around once you get bored with me. I went through that with Philip, and I'm not going through that again. Please drive. I held my breath to avoid from shedding any tears that would make me look weak, but my voice was a little trembling as I said those words. What was wrong with me? I was getting very emotional on small little things lately. I could feel Nikolai trying to hold my hand, but I slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. I said drive, or I'll get out and stop a taxi. It's late night. You won't get a taxi. He sighed, and I could feel him getting closer to me. I moved away from him as I was starting to feel uncomfortable with how close we got. I told you many times before, I don't love Pamela, and I won't marry her. My heart belongs to you, only you. He palmed my cheeks with one hand and made me look at him. I love you, Ashley. I may not be able to give you a life as a princess, just like what your grandmother said, but I would treat you like my queen, my Luna, as you are truly my mate, which I would wait for you to open your heart for me. He took my hand and placed it on his chest, and my heart beats for you. Losing you would make me weak. I had lost you for 5 years, and it felt a lot like living in hell for me. Can we please stop fighting? I don't know what is going on in that pretty head of yours, but I promise you, there is no one else but you that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Did you sleep with her? I then closed my mouth as it was said without me wanting to sound like a desperate and jealous woman. I wished I could take that back. As there were a few seconds of silence from him, I sighed and shook my head. You don't have to answer that because I already know the answer. Please just drive. I'm tired. I just want to go back to my son. He took a deep breath and exhaled loudly. Ashley, I had slept with many women, countless of them, but they meant nothing to me, just sex. I took the courage and looked at him. Am I just sex to you? No, honey. Never. He took hold of my hand and raised it to his lips. You are not like them. I love you. Look at me, Ashley. I did not know why I was acting like a foolish girl, but I was truly jealous of him with Pamela. She was definitely much sexier than me. If I was born a man, I would totally choose Pamela than a messed up girl like me. I don't care if you had slept with other men in the past. It is all in the past. We move on together. I would be loyal to you as how I expect you to be to me. I want you and Teddy to live with me. I'll take care of both of you and protect you with my life. I would treat Teddy as my own if you allow me to. His words moved me. It was the sweetest thing I ever heard coming from a man. With a drop of tear escaped my eyes, I looked at him and hoped he would understand my words one day. I only slept with you and the father of my child. I was busy raising Teddy on my own as a single mother. It was not easy, Nikolai. I left my life as a princess to a life that was poor. I had to work 2 jobs to pay for my studies and to care for Teddy. It was hard life, but I was happy. I was free. No one dared to keep me living with them. My grandmother, the queen, made sure she would destroy those that tried to help me. I was alone, Nikolai. I can still live alone. I don't need anyone but my son. I can't let anyone take him away from me. I felt him gently pulling my head closer to face him and planted a kiss on my forehead. You are no longer alone, Ashley. From now on, you have me. I'll take care of you and Teddy. Just please don't walk away from me, Ashley. I need you. My heart skipped a beat, hearing his words said ever so lovingly, and I could truly feel his love for me. Do you mean what you said, Nikolai? My lips trembled as I felt his warm breath on my cheeks. His face was just inches away from me, and it made me nervous on what he would do to me next. Can I kiss you? He asked and smiled at me. Do you really have to ask? I responded and smiled back at him. Nikolai's POV. Have you fired a gun before, honey? I asked and smiled with my eyes focused on driving the car out of danger. I then pressed a button in my car to call Ivan, Beta, of my wolf pack. I'm a witch, Nikolai. Why would I need a gun? It is so violent, she said while studying the gun from end to end. It was as if she was fascinated by it. I want you to roll down your window and start shooting at them, just for distraction while I get us out from here. Don't worry, my car is bulletproof, and I doubt theirs are one, I said and dialed to call Ivan again as the first call went to his voicemail. Where the fuck is Ivan? Honey, remove that little pin, aim and shoot. I gave her instruction before I turned to our left sharply that made her yelped. Nikolai, I almost shot myself with the gun. Careful, I chuckled, hearing her said those words. Never thought she had never seen a gun before. And no, I do know how to use a weapon, but I never seen this sort of weapon. It is really pretty. Have you used it before? It looks new, she asked while looking at her side mirror. It was a gift from my father. No, I have not used it before. And that was the truth. My father had gifted me with the white custom-made gun, which he said was with a high precision when aimed at your enemy. Are you ready, honey? No and yes, she said, and placed the gun on my lap. You shoot them. Honey, what are you doing? I need you to use it. I chuckled and held her hand. It is going to be all right. I'll get us out from here. I said those words too soon, as there were few rounds of gunshot at us from various angles. One shot had hit the tire, but fortunately, my car could run several miles before the tires went all flat. I don't need guns. Nikolai. She smiled and looked back at the cars behind us and moved to look at where we were heading. I need you to turn around and stop the car. I can stop those chasing after us. You just need to get me closer to them. What? No, are you crazy? I'm not sacrificing you. That is out of the question here, I said angrily and wind down the window on my side. Sit back. Hold the wheels for me while I shoot, at the count of 3. I then shot at our attacker just to slow them down before we moved forwards to enter the highway. I needed to find a safer place than driving back home. It was not safe for Teddy if I brought my enemies closer to where we were staying. A call came from Ivan, which I then answered angrily while speaking in my native language. What took you so long, Ivan? I was making love with my wife. What's the matter, Nikolai? You need love advice to bed your woman? Can we do that tomorrow? Shut up. She is next to me and we are being chased by Antonio's men. 3 cars, with guns. I don't have much weapon with me. Fuck, Antonio's men, are you sure? I thought he backed off. We made it clear to end this war. Antonio Jr., the son. Ivan, take Teddy with you. We need to move. The house is not safe. Take him to my penthouse. Send our men there. We'll reach in. Half an hour or so. All right, Alpha, send me your location. Help will come. I then ended the call and turned to look at Ashley, who seemed calm. Are you all right, honey? She nodded and smiled at me. I wondered if she could understand my language from Zevia. That would be embarrassing. Ivan had said words I had wished Ashley would not understand. Nikolai. I can stop them. They would not stop shooting, she said and bit her lips while looking at me. Don't you trust me? I sighed and nodded. What do you plan to do? I don't want you to do anything stupid that is dangerous. This is my war, not yours. I don't want you to get involved with it. You are already involved in my life. Now I will be in yours. Her words made me smile, but I was also worried. I could not let her be in danger to face my enemies. I had promised to keep her safe, and I planned to keep my word. Nikolai, they are getting closer, and you are losing petrol, she pointed at my dashboard. I cursed at the car in my own language and sighed. Don't worry, help will come. We are not far from the penthouse. Nikolai, I'm sorry for doing this. She then placed her hands on my steering wheel that made the car turned around to face my enemies. Ashley, what are you doing? I was too late to stop her from exiting the car. My eyes opened wide as I watched what she planned to do. Ashley's POV. I heard what Ivan had said to Nikolai, but it did not bother me much until he mentioned about Teddy. I did not want any danger coming near my son, so I decided to end this war myself. Stopping 3 cars were not at all that difficult. I had done worse than blowing up cars with my abilities. Standing at the side of the car, I winked once at Nikolai. He was just not the monster in the car. I had seen his worst, and it was time for me to show him my hidden side that I guessed would scare him a little. I had accepted him unconditionally, and I wanted him to do the same. He needed to accept the real me, a powerful witch. Raising my hands to my sides, I summoned the energy around me to absorb their powers. I felt powerful, and I loved the feeling of that surge of energy running through my veins as I shouted an old ancient spell used for wars, Ignis Bombarda. I shouted with my palm facing towards the 3 cars coming fast towards us. A gust of wind came circling around me that got thicker and heavier. Bam! Boom! The 3 cars collided among themselves and were seen flying in the air as if a force had just pushed them towards each other. They were turning around in the air and crashed on the ground. Definitely, no one could survive that. Then I shot fireballs from both of my hands. It had burnt them all and anything along their way. I smiled to that feeling I felt. I smiled of victory. I felt powerful and liberating. Ashley, I heard Nikolai calling my name with a trembling voice. What I saw on his face that night was the look of fear. All of a sudden, I blacked out. I did not remember what had happened after that. Ashley's tired, confused, lost. I blinked my eyes open slowly and realized I was lying on a very soft and comfortable bed. It was not at all helping me to get up. I looked around and realized I was alone. The sun seeped through the curtains, which was the only light in the room. It was pretty dark and gloomy. What the hell had happened to me? I could not remember much. It was a blur in my mind. Groaning in pain, with my head throbbing from the inside, I tried to get up, but it proved to be not that easy as it seemed. I fell back on the bed and stared on the ceiling. That ceiling looked very familiar. Then the door to the room opened wide, but I could see no one entering. The sound of little footsteps running was heard, and I knew instantly who it was. Mommy, it was my son. Oh, I was so happy to see him. At least something good happened during my memory loss. My son was safe. He jumped on the bed and hugged me tightly, so tight that made me breathless. I did not mind that at all. Teddy, where are we? He looked at me and smiled. Nikolai's home. He said you were not well, so I was not allowed to come and see you. But I knew you are awake, Mommy. I just knew it. I smiled and hugged him tightly on my chest. I could then hear him sniffled his tears, and it made me worry. What is wrong, baby? I thought I was going to lose you, he whispered and held me closely as if his life depended on it. I sighed and wondered what had happened. The last thing I remembered was kissing Nikolai in his car. I wondered where he was. I looked down to finally see what I was wearing. It did not look at all like my clothes. It was a man's shirt, which I guessed it to be Nikolai's shirt. His scent was still on it. While caressing Teddy's back, I whispered, "Where is Nikolai?" He shrugged his shoulders and looked up at me. He said he had work to do. You were sleeping for 2 days, Mommy. 2 days? I gasped and exhaled my breath. Teddy, do you recall what happened 2 days ago? How did I get here? Teddy did not answer me, and I could see him pout his lips and blinked his eyes at me. I knew that look. He was hiding something. Teddy, you keeping a secret from me? You know I don't like that. But I promised Nikolai, he whispered and looked at the door as if he was worried someone was going to come in. He said you are not well and I must not tell you what happened. What? I sighed and closed my eyes. I wondered what it was that Nikolai made my son promise not to tell me. I hated secrets, and I hated it more knowing Nikolai made my son keep a secret from me. Baby, who else is in the house? I asked in a whisper, hoping we were alone. I needed to get out and find out the truth. I needed to find one person I could trust. Finley. Just me, you. I have a room here, Mommy. Nikolai gave me a room, and there are so many toys. Teddy was clearly hiding something as he was changing the topic. Did Nikolai bribe my son with toys to keep a secret? Ugh. He was so annoying. I wanted so much to see Nikolai and get the truth out from his mouth. I wanted to strangle his neck for bribing my son. Teddy, who else in the house now? I looked at his scared little face as if he was afraid of something. I squinted my eyes and gave him an angry look. Mommy, just us. You hurt so many people. He closed his mouth with both hands and sat next to me. Please don't tell Nikolai. I told you. I slowly sat next to him and lifted his chin. We don't keep secrets, remember? He nodded and was playing with his hand, fidgeting. Something was holding him back. What was he afraid of? I was losing my mind over what had happened 2 days ago. Where is my phone, Teddy? I need to call Uncle Finley. I sighed and avoided looking at him. He knew I was angry, and I knew just the way to make him confess. Mommy, are you angry with me? He asked with his cute little sad voice. I ignored him and got up from the bed slowly to reach the door that I guessed to be a bathroom. Wait! I remembered this room. It was his penthouse. I rubbed my eyes and looked around and knew I was right. That was the bed we made love for the first time. How did I get here? Mommy, are you angry at me? My son got up from the bed and followed me around. I was walking around to look for my clothes or anything that belonged to me. I opened a door that I thought was his wardrobe and realized it was a huge walk-in closet with many clothes of his and my things. It was neatly arranged as if I lived here for a long time. I shook my head and grabbed one of my dresses to change. While walking to the shower, I could see Teddy followed me around like a lost puppy. He was looking at me with those cute round eyes of his. It was not going to work on me. I was not happy of him siding with Nikolai. Teddy was supposed to be on my side. Mommy, are you angry at me? He asked again and followed me to the bathroom and waited for me to take my shower. All the while I ignored him as I got ready for what I planned to do next. After showering, I grabbed a bag and stuffed my things in it. I was not planning on staying. I needed to find out about what happened to me for the past 2 days. I needed answers. Mommy, where are you going? He followed me from behind and pulled my hand to stop. Are you leaving me? It was then I saw him sniffled a tear and was about to cry. I would never leave my son. Show me your room. Pack your things. We are leaving, I said firmly. Looking up to me with his sad face, he pouted. But I like it here. Why do we have to leave? Oh, those tears were breaking my heart. I squatted down and palmed his cheeks gently with one hand. This is not our home, my love. It is time for us to go home. Our real home back in Ambrose City. Don't you want to go home? He pouted and nodded his head slowly. Tears were wetting his cheeks that made me so sad looking at his disappointment to my decision. Then he looked up and smiled to something behind me. Nikolai. I closed my eyes, not wanting to face Nikolai, who was standing behind me. I just wanted to get out from his place and go home. I could sense whatever had happened to me 2 days ago was not good. The last time I lost my memory in such a way was when I was possessed with the evil energy living inside of my body. I had lost control and I needed to fix what I had done. Whatever I had done. Where are you going, Ashley? He said calmly. But I could sense he was not happy seeing me holding a luggage bag on one hand, Nikolai's POV. My heart was beating fast, seeing her holding that fucking red bag of hers. I should have thrown it away. I should have chained her to the bed if this was what she planned to do. After what had happened in the past 2 days ago, I could not believe she was leaving me. I was not going to let it happen. I clenched my hands on my sides into a fist. I was doing all I could to calm myself down. My eyes were staring at her all the way as she stood up slowly and turned around to face me. Teddy was hiding behind her long, sexy legs, covering his face from me. Did he tell her? It was supposed to be our secret. I did not want Ashley to know what she had done. It would freak her out. I was freaked out, but with all the love I have for her, I was willing to accept her as what she was. It was just the same as how she had accepted me as who I was. I wondered if she truly wanted to be with me. I did not care. I wanted her to stay, and I would not let her go. Ever. Before I opened my mouth and took steps towards her, I felt a hand placed on my shoulder. It was Ivan who then spoke to me in a mind link. Calm yourself. Not in front of the boy, Nico. Anger is not the solution here. My eyes were staring at Ashley, who finally looked at me and parted that sexy lips of hers to talk to me. Nikolai, what is going on here? What? How did I get here? Why did you? She covered Teddy's ears with her hands and said in a whisper, Why did you ask my son to lie to me? I looked down at Teddy, who had his back at me while he hugged Ashley's legs tightly. Was he afraid of me? I did ask him to keep a secret, for I did not want Ashley to panic. I was planning to tell her in my own way. Teddy, go with Ivan. He will take you out for an ice cream. You like that? I said calmly, even when I knew I was already turning red in anger, trying my best to not shout at anyone or punch a wall repeatedly. He is not going anywhere without me, she said firmly and gently, placed Teddy behind her. I wondered what she was afraid of. I should be the one being afraid of her, not the other way round. I need to talk to you privately. He is safer with Ivan. I took one step forward, which made her move back 2 steps. I then paused and sighed. Don't make it harder, Ashley. I'm doing what is best for Teddy. I'm doing what is best for my son. Back off. You can't hold me here like a prisoner. I'm leaving and you can't stop me. Move. I was worried she would say those things. I was doing my best to stay calm, and she was not helping me in that. What happened to me 2 days ago, Nikolai? She was looking worried and took a glance at Teddy, who still held on to her legs. Why do you ask my son to keep a secret from me? You don't remember? I saw her shook her head and looked at me with a worried face. What was the last thing you remembered? She took a moment and placed her hand to cover Teddy's ears again. Looking up at me, she said in a soft tone, "We were in your car, and we were." She paused and looked at me for a moment as if she wanted me to understand. But I wanted her to say her words. Intimate. Then, I don't remember much. A blur. Did I hurt someone? Did I hurt you or Ivan? She took a glance at Ivan, who was standing behind me. Ivan was most likely in a position to protect me from getting killed by Ashley. Both Ivan and I had bruises on our body. Ivan even got his hand broken after what Ashley did to him and my men 2 days ago. It was violent, and she almost killed dozens of my strong men. They were afraid to come close to her, except for Ivan and Drake. Both were willing to stand by me to face Ashley. I was grateful for that. I was not afraid of Ashley. I wanted to understand her, to help her manage that evil she had in her. I knew there would be a way to help her, as how I had found a way to suppress the evil in me. But I needed her to trust me first. I then offered my hand for her to take. Please, come with me. I need to talk to you, in private. What I am going to tell you would not be good for Teddy to hear. Please, honey, trust me. Please stay. She bit her lips and nodded slowly. Lowering down her head, I saw her whispering something in Teddy's ears and hugged him tightly. Teddy finally turned around and faced me with his adorable round eyes looking up at me. I did not tell her. I sighed and nodded. I know. Now, please follow Ivan. I need to talk to your mommy. Mommy is not a bad person. She is just not well. She needs to take her medicine and she will be fine again. Are you going to hurt Mommy? He said while standing close to Ashley, not wanting to leave her side. Protective boy he was. It made me smile a little. I'm not going to hurt your mommy. I love her and I love you, little man. My words made Ashley look up at me. She was surprised I said those words in front of her son. I smiled at her and offered my hand again for her to take. Let me explain what happened to you 2 days ago. It is best we do it privately. I'm not going to hurt you, Ashley. She paused and was seen staring at a blank space. I waited for her to respond, and my hand was still in the air, hoping that she would take it. Ashley, please stay. I need you, and I know you need me. She looked up to see me with sadness in her eyes. It broke my heart to see her tears fell down her cheeks. I wondered what was playing in her head. What was she afraid of? Then I felt her hand on mine. She nodded slowly and asked Teddy to follow Ivan. I pulled her gently towards me and embraced her in my arms. I could feel her tears wetting my shoulders, and it made me sigh in relief, feeling her hands wrapping my waist. Nikolai, did I kill anyone? Her whispered words made me wonder if she had done that before. Should I be worried? I caressed her back gently and kissed her head. Let's talk. Nikolai's POV. She looked like me and sighed. I wished I could hear her thoughts or at least feel her emotions. Women, they were not easy for me to understand, and Ashley was no exception to that. Hungry? I tucked her hair behind her ears gently. She nodded with her eyes staring at the stairs. I noticed she does that a lot, spacing her mind out. I caressed her cheeks and sighed. Everything is going to be all right. Trust me, I got it handled. She pouted her lips and looked at me with her teary eyes. Did I hurt Ivan? She had hurt a lot of my men that night. Some were still in the hospital getting proper treatment. Some broke their teeth, broke their legs, twisted their arms, and she even set a few on fire. I did not want to tell her everything. It was not going to help her that way. I needed to calm her down first. Let's eat, then we talk. I held her hand and guided her to walk to my kitchen. I hoped to have enough ingredients to cook a simple dish for her. Something that could make her fall in love with me, I hoped. You can cook? She asked as I placed her to sit at the chair next to the kitchen island. Something simple. Can you cook, honey? I asked as I took out some vegetables and seasoning sauce out from the fridge. You are a vegetarian, aren't you? Teddy told me. She nodded. Teddy tried his best to be one too, but clearly he craves for meat. She shook her head with a smile and looked at me preparing the ingredients to cook a simple vegetarian meal for the love of my life. I hoped I would not disappoint her. I can flip burgers, she chuckled and stared into a blank space as if she was recalling a memory. After giving birth to Teddy, I had spent all money that I had, sold my jewelries, and used all the cash I had to raise him. So, I applied to work at a diner in Mystic Town in between my classes at the design school. From a waitress, I got promoted to be the cook, flip burgers and fried potatoes. You, a princess, worked at a diner? That's hard to believe. The granddaughter of the queen ends up like that. I heated up the frying pan and took a glance at her, who was finally smiling at me. They knew me as Tiana Winters, a single mother who lost her husband, who died in a war between witches and wizards. Lorraine Winters helped me with that identity. Even after I almost killed her and her sister for a reason I could not remember back then. I had a blackout. Just like what I had 2 days ago. I lost control. I could hear her sniffle a tear. Honey, things are going to be fine. You are not alone anymore. You have me. Let's eat. I placed a plate at the kitchen bar and poured the vegetable dish on her plate. Her eyes were looking at the dish I made and smiled. It looks delicious, Nikolai. Of course, it was my father's recipe. Sautéed vegetables. He cooks for my mother, I said, and poured the remaining content on another plate for me. I then poured us a glass of wine to complement the dish. What's the verdict, Your Royal Highness? I sat next to her as I watched her taste a spoonful of my cooked food. Oh my God, what is this? It is delicious, Nikolai, she said with a spot of sauce on the side of her lips. You have something on your lips, honey. I moved closer to her and licked the sauce on her lips, making her giggle. It tastes so much better on your lips. Nikolai, you are being silly, she laughed and continued eating while I watched her from the side. I sighed in relief, knowing I got home in time to stop her from leaving me. Again, I was definitely going to enhance the security in my penthouse so she could not leave me. I could not stand losing her again. She was so good at hiding. Caressing her back and moved to kiss her head, I whispered, Don't you ever leave me, Ashley. I'm here for you. You need to learn how to trust me. After drinking her wine, she looked at me with a look of having many questions. Sometimes I can't control it, Nikolai. Sometimes I can, but I feel like this evil in me wants to get out and take control of my body. It made me do things, bad things. I'm a monster, Nikolai. You deserve better. She bit her lips and looked away. I lifted her chin to face me and smiled. Then, we are both monsters. Don't forget, I'm a fucking hybrid. I smiled and pecked her lips. I'm not going to leave you. You can try leaving, but I'm going to find you. We need each other, Ashley. If you allow me to help you, I can teach you to take control that evil in you. Nikolai, it is not that simple. You don't understand. She tried to stand up to move away, but I blocked her way, not letting her to leave. Make me understand. Tell me what is bothering you. I'm here for you, Ashley. Could you at least try? My words got her attention. I held her hand and kissed it gently. Tell me what triggers that blackout. She shrugged her shoulders and sighed. The worst was 5 years ago, after I caught Philip sleeping with Helen the morning of the day I was supposed to get married. The wedding I had spent months to prepare, my dream wedding with who I thought was my Prince Charming. Oh, those words kind of make me a little disturbed. Prince Charming? That fucking man did not deserve her. I was so angry and sad at the same time. My heart was beating so fast, and I could feel the surge of energy building up from my hands, moved to my heart and controlled my mind. Then my parents came in. They were calm about it, as if they knew it was going to happen that Philip had cheated on me. It was horrible, Nikolai. I felt betrayed, alone, and confused. I lost it. And so I burnt the palace that morning and left. Then the blackout happened. She was in tears and closed her face with both hands. Hey, honey, it was all in the past. You need to let go and move on with your life. I'm not Philip. Please, look at me. I moved to pull her trembling body and embraced her close to my chest. I let her cry and caressed her back while kissing her head. I woke up being trapped in a cage at Loretta Winters' home in Ambrose City. I had blacked out for 2 days. Lorraine Winters was there too. They both used all the powers they had to contain me in a witch's invisible cage. I woke up not remembering anything. It took months for my memory to come back slowly. When it did, I could not forgive myself. I had hurt so many people. It was horrible, Nikolai. I can't go through that again. Please tell me, did I kill anyone? She hugged my chest and cried on my shoulders. I sighed as I did not know how to tell her that she alone had defeated dozens of my men. Some were still in the hospital being critically injured and unconscious, and that included my driver Frankie. No one died, honey. You hurt my men pretty badly. They are being treated. Don't worry. We will get through this. She looked up to stare into my eyes as if she wanted to see if I was lying. I chuckled and rested my forehead on hers. I'm telling you the truth. Pinky swear. That made her smile. Pinky swear? Teddy taught you that, huh? That boy can make me bend a knee with those eyes of his. One of his abilities? I hope not. We both laughed to that and shook our heads hoping it was not true. Then she caressed my cheeks with a smile. Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you for helping me. I owe you so much. I don't know how to repay your kindness. I moved closer to place a kiss on her lips gently and whispered, How about we can continue what we started in my car 2 days ago?